What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren Thompson, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever is officially out in theaters. Today, we're going to be going over a little bit of the ending, but breaking down that post-credit scene. So, if you have not seen the movie and you are trying to avoid spoilers, this is your official spoiler alert. Now, most likely, if you are still here, you have seen the movie or you simply don't care about spoilers. But if you have seen the movie, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about it. You can rank it between 1 to 10 or A to F, or simply just give us your thoughts about it. Now, Black Panther Wakanda Forever was obviously a really big movie for a lot of reasons. The biggest, of course, being the fact that we lost Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther / T'Challa. It's incredibly sad, and of course he will be missed by everybody. His death came as a huge shock to pretty much everybody except his immediate family surrounding him. He didn't even tell the people over at Marvel Studios that he had cancer. So when he passed away, it was a big shock not only to the world, but to Marvel Studios as well. Even the director of the first Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever didn't know. He shared recently that he finally finished the Black Panther 2 script, which of course had Chadwick in it at the time. He asked Chadwick Boseman if he wanted to look at it before he sent it to the studio, in which Chadwick said no, but Ryan Coogler has stated in an interview he thought that Chadwick felt too tired to read it. Ryan Coogler went on to say Chadwick Boseman would die about 2 weeks later. Now, shortly after the passing of Chadwick Boseman, Marvel Studios came out and we listened to President Kevin Feige tell us that they decided to not recast T'Challa / the Black Panther in the MCU. Now, whether or not people agreed with this decision or not, I think most people understood why Marvel Studios decided to do this. However, there was still a big movement out there calling for the recasting of T'Challa because how much the character means to a lot of people. Plus, not to mention, there are a ton of stories that you can do in the MCU, but in the comics are heavily revolved around T'Challa. Well, in this post-credit scene, they kind of found a way to still please the fans, a way to bring T'Challa back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but also a way that gives us time to mourn the death of Chadwick in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. The movie starts off with a scene of Shuri actually trying to recreate a synthetic heart-shaped herb because her brother, King T'Challa, is dying. However, sadly, Queen Ramonda comes in and tells Shuri that her brother is gone. They say he died from an unknown illness, and we have a funeral for King T'Challa. And this movie is very much about not only the characters grieving, but also the actors as well. In fact, there are some times in the movie where you can't tell if they are acting or simply grieving for a friend. So in the post-credit scene, we see Shuri burning the robes of T'Challa, something that she was going to do with her mother earlier on in the movie, as a part of the grieving process and as a way to move on. Shuri becomes the new Black Panther in this film, so the mantle of the Black Panther is still there. However, with King T'Challa gone, the character T'Challa was gone as well, until Marvel figured out a great way to still have a T'Challa in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In the movie, we find out that Nakia is living in Haiti. At one point in time, Nakia tells Shuri she's always welcome at her house. And at the very end of the film, we see Shuri go to Nakia's house, which is on the beach, and Shuri goes down to the beach and performs the ritual. We have a really nice scene here paying tribute to Chadwick Boseman and T'Challa, showing us clips from Black Panther 1, and this shows us Shuri going through the grieving process and essentially finally deciding to move on. The movie ends here, but the post-credit picks up right after in the same exact scene. We see Nakia come out and greet Shuri on the beach, but she has somebody with her, a young boy, and she tells that young boy that Shuri is his aunt. She says that his name is Toussaint, but then he tells Shuri that my mom says you can keep a secret. And he says that Toussaint is his Haitian name and his real name is actually T'Challa. And this is where it is revealed that Nakia and T'Challa had a son together, and this is their son. He even says, I am Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa. This comes as a pretty big shock to Shuri, but of course it is an extremely happy moment. And not gonna lie, it got me pretty good in the theater. But from here, Nakia explains that King T'Challa said that he didn't want to raise his son in the kingdom, but he actually did prepare Nakia and his son T'Challa for his death. Throughout the movie where Nakia comes back, she meets many different characters along the way that she hasn't seen in a very long time, like Okoye, Queen Ramonda, and Shuri. They each expressed that they missed her at the funeral. However, if you notice, Shuri and Okoye were a little hurt that they didn't see her at the funeral. However, Queen Ramonda simply says that she missed her. This is because, as we find out, T'Challa and Nakia told the Queen about their son, and Queen Ramonda actually met their son as well. Nakia reveals to Shuri that T'Challa told them not to visit the funeral because if they visited the funeral, instead of focusing on grieving and saying their goodbyes to King T'Challa, they would be more surprised and taken back by the fact that T'Challa has a son and that they kept him from him for all these years. But Queen Ramonda knew this, so instead of being kind of hurt by the fact that Nakia did not attend the funeral, she simply says that she missed her. So I think this is a pretty great move by Marvel Studios, because now we do essentially have a recasting of T'Challa in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And recently with Black Panther Wakanda Forever coming out, of course they've been doing a ton of interviews leading up to the movie. And Kevin Feige has revealed that the reason that they did not recast T'Challa for Black Panther 2 was because they felt it was too soon. So this basically confirmed that they didn't think that they weren't going to ever recast T'Challa, simply they did not recast him for the specific Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie. Because now in the post-credit scene, it's very clear that they, in their own way, have recast T'Challa. This T'Challa will essentially go on to become the same character, which is really great because we have everything that Chadwick Boseman gave us as his T'Challa, but now with this new one, his son, we'll get to see many different storylines play out in the MCU that have played out in the comics that fans really want to see. The X-Men are now making their way to the MCU, and a big storyline in the comics is the marriage between the X-Men Storm and King T'Challa. They also do go on to have a son together in the comics. And now that we again have a T'Challa in the MCU, all these storylines are possible, whereas they were not before. It's most likely that we're going to see somewhat of a time jump with T'Challa. Although hopefully not too big of a time jump, because now it's possible for T'Challa to actually go on to become a Young Avenger. Marvel has been setting up the Young Avengers for quite some time now in the MCU, so this would be a really cool opportunity to have a young T'Challa be a part of the Young Avengers team. Then eventually do a time jump again and have him grow up to become the king of Wakanda and take the heart-shaped herb and become the Black Panther. I'm sure Shuri will always kind of keep the mantle of the Black Panther. This did happen in the comics, and there is totally room for 2 Black Panthers in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. Or it could be that when T'Challa finally becomes of age to be king of Wakanda, Shuri would step down from the Black Panther mantle and let her nephew have it. There are also other major stories involving Namor that we could see in the MCU again as well, like the Avengers versus the X-Men, which still also ties into Storm. The Phoenix Force possesses the Phoenix Five, and Namor ends up flooding Wakanda, killing a lot of people, kind of what we saw in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. However, T'Challa is on the side of the Avengers, and his wife Storm is on the side of the X-Men, and after the flooding of Wakanda, Black Panther tells his wife Storm that he wants a divorce. But in the comics, the wedding between T'Challa and Storm is a really big deal. Everybody comes to watch it, and even the Watcher himself shows up to witness the ceremony. So by Marvel Studios deciding to essentially not recast T'Challa right away, but now bring in another T'Challa, this is their way of recasting the character, and now all of these story options are available moving forward in the MCU. It's definitely a really happy ending for a really sad situation. Chadwick Boseman and T'Challa were definitely missed in this film. Their absence was very felt, but I think he would have felt pretty great about how the movie came out and how they're going forward with T'Challa in the MCU. But hey, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. What did you think about the movie, and what do you think about the way they're going about recasting the character T'Challa? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest news. For live updates, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.